Niggas and bitches, bitches and niggas. You know what time it is. It's about that time. Happy Monday, motherfuckers. Hella really petty, articulate ass orderly. My name is Marcus Aurelius. KeepItOneHunned channel. Y'all already know what it is. What the fuck happened to my shit? I hit the wrong shit. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Anyway. Uppity Negro swag. Uppity Negro swag, and I think some of y'all are confused about what that means. I'm gonna explain it today. All right. Hope y'all can hear me through this microphone. Shout some people out. My nigga Adric is on. What's going on, bro? I see you up in here. My man Dr. Thunder. Hey, Doc, if you're free to come up, it's up to you. All right. Shout out to Ron Matthews. We are in the building. My man Tan. He said, I hate the keys on the piano. It's black. My man Henny King. Henny, I don't know where you at. All right. At some point, I'm gonna throw the link up. My man Youssef is in the building. What's going on, bro? My man Berg is in the building. Mad Professor's in the building. What's going on, man? The Mad Professor has been on another one of his excursions. And he is back with us. What's going on, bro? All right. Mr. O with the info. What's going on, bro? All right. We're going to watch some videos today. All right. I'm going to keep kicking marriage in the ass. I'm going to keep doing it. Too much proof out here, man. How much proof do you guys need, man, that this is a bad contract? I don't care for what reason you're doing it for. You know what I mean? And this, again, you know, I do these things just to give out this information, not to put my foot in nobody else's backs, even though there are people in the space that might see things differently than me. I think that Black men are told to do things for different reasons. One reason might be the community. The other reason might be the children. The other reason might be Jesus Christ himself. But, you know, all of these things, because there's really no reason. We have to be scapegoated by these external things. There's really no self-interested reason. If I ask anyone, what do you get inside of a marriage that you can't get outside of it? Nobody can answer this question. They can give you a list of like bullshit, like, you know, that can be debunked, that either you can get outside the marriage or ain't guaranteed in a marriage. Ain't nothing guaranteed in a marriage. This is bigger than Black people. Nothing's guaranteed, not even your child's outcome. Not even children's outcomes are guaranteed in marriage. You're rolling the dice, and then you're rolling the dice against divorce, which will give your child the same outcomes that you would have got if you didn't get married. Right? Shout out to Mansfield Hall of Fame. What's going on, man? What's going on? Oh, speaking of, oh man, I got a story to tell. Shout out to Tito. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tito, General Tito. I was watching the Tito stream, right? You know what I mean? I know after I tell this story, y'all gonna think I'm super pook, but I don't give a fuck, right? You know, white men get to stay in their ground. I get to stay in mine too. So check this out, right? I'm just driving, minding my motherfucking business, right? I couldn't wait to tell this story. Just driving, minding my motherfucking business. I go to the car wash, right? And you know, I got a new joint. I don't want the paint fucked up. So I pull into this car wash, right? Those of you with new cars, don't go into the car wash with the brushes, right? If you don't know this already, just for people who you know, if you got a new joint or you getting a new joint, never drive into the car wash that has the brushes. Never do that, right? I'm looking for a car wash with no brushes. Okay, looking for just to spray the water on with the soap, the jets. It's good enough for me. So I pull up into this car wash. Usually, when you get to the brushless car wash, it's not manned. There's nobody in there. You just pull in. You pay with your credit card and you pull into there. So I did this. I pull into this gas. There's a gas station car wash out here, and I pull into there, and I'm thinking it's a brushless. I pay. I pull in. I see it has brushes. I'm like, damn. So I pull around to the gas station, park the car, go inside, and I tell the man behind the counter, I said, hey, man, I need a refund because I thought this was a brushless car wash and you have brushes, and I don't want to use brushes, right? What's going on, Brandon? Hey, look, we're going to watch the videos. But let me tell my story first. Let me tell my story. So I'm talking to the man. He asked me, do you got a receipt? Right? I said, nah, but I got my card. I paid with my card, just refunded to the card. So he's going about printing up a voucher for me to take to another car wash. Because there's a string of gas stations and car washes. They got the brush and the brushless. So he's like, here, take this, and you can go somewhere else and get you a brushless. And there's a code on here you could use. But before he could do that, I got a nigga standing behind me. A nigga standing behind me who got an opinion, right? He tatted up from head to toe. This nigga got the arm tats, neck tats, tatted all the way the fuck up, right? Yo, man, you can't be talking to people like that, man. I turn around, I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? Talking about, give me a receipt. I said, no, my man, you got it twisted. He asked me for a receipt. I told him I ain't got one. You know what I'm saying? I just, I'm like, yo, you could use my, yeah, but you talking to him all crazy. Mind you, I wasn't even talking to him crazy. I had no reason to talk to him crazy. Because my wife works here and you can't come up and, here we go. Because my wife works here. Mind you, his wife ain't nowhere around. I don't even see his wife. I don't know what his wife look like. He's like, you can't come in here talking to people crazy, talk about give me a receipt and my wife work here. I'm like, yo, my man, what the fuck I got to do with your wife, bro? So he's mouthing off. Homie gives me the voucher. He's still talking. I give him the grill. Like, whatever, homie. And I leave. I just want to point this out before I continue. Because y'all know there's some judgmental niggas in here. I left. I walked out. Okay? I left. I get in my shit. I'm backing up to leave. I'm leaving. I'm going to say this 5 more times. Niggas, I'm leaving. I'm out of there. He walks out the store with his girl. Now I see his girl. He's talking shit. He's looking at me. His girl is looking at me. They talking shit. They approaching the car. All right. They approaching their car. Right? So they get in the car. She gets in the car. He's about to get in the car, but then he stops and then he gets out the car and starts walking towards me. Starts walking towards my V. I'm watching him the whole time. Right? So as he's approaching my V, I don't know what the fuck he gonna do. I don't know what he holding. So that's when I jump out. That. Fuck do you want? Telling this nigga, get the fuck out of here, bro. Get out of here, bro. Keep it moving. Now, mind you, when I first jump out, nigga backs up. right? Because he sees it, he backs up. He backs up, falls back. But then his girl is, oh my God, no, 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 I work here. Right? Yo, this girl is going crazy. I say, yo, get the fuck out of here. Get in your car and get the fuck out of here, bro. Now, average nigga would have seen the joint. You got it, homie. Got in his fucking car and left. This nigga didn't do that. He ain't do that. And yes, break the cycle. He walked towards me, you know, like I was not blicked up. Nigga, it's open carry out here. It's open carry. Okay? Right? So the nigga's moving all, he moving around the car, all sneaky and shady. Like, I say, yo, my man, check this out, bro. We can bang out. Mind you, I'm not yelling as I'm telling this story, but I'm saying this shit loud as fuck. I'm saying this shit loud as fuck at this gas station. Now, we've all seen videos online of the shit going down at the gas station that was about to go down. I'm telling this nigga, yo, bro, get in your fucking car and get the fuck out of here. I'm going to stand here, but you try some shit, bro. I'm going to let y'all have it. I'm going to let y'all have it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, what the fuck going on? Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all have it, bro. If y'all don't get the fuck out of here. She's still yelling, oh, why you doing this? Why you doing? I said, yo, my man. I said, homegirl, your man is coming at me. I'm in my car. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Trying to get the fuck out of here. Your man wants this. And while we having all this conversation, this nigga doing all this shit. I say, yo, my man, I'm ready to go with you. I'm ready. Get in the car. Get the fuck. Listen. I said, listen to your woman, bro. Listen to your woman. GQ Smooth. What's going on, man? Listen to your woman, my man. Listen to your woman. I'm not bluffing. Get the fuck. My man, reluctantly, you could tell. I could tell, bro. I could tell it took everything in him to get in that car and drive off. But there was no fucking way. This was the other day. There was no fucking way this nigga was going to grab his shit, cock it if he needed it to, point it at me, and get me. It was no fucking way. No way. It's about to be a murder scene at the gas station. That's how my weekend went. Okay. That's how my weekend went, right? Shout out to let me see what Henny King talking about. He says P320 pointed at his core through the driver door makes niggas want beef no more. Nigglets. Makes nigglets want beef no more. Texas, I have it in the truck too. It extends the range. I don't play. Okay. So just so you, for all the internet niggas that like to talk about they gonna come to Vegas and they gonna come see me, all the niggas that's in my motherfucking community tab, I got a lot of weirdos on my community tab. The last shit that I posted, you know what I'm saying? The last shit that I posted, I had a lot of, you know, I don't get these much. I don't get a lot of the white supremacist guys on my shit, but for some reason, this post made them come out, right? A bunch of white supremacist motherfuckers on my shit, talking all this shit. And then I'm in Dr. Thunder's chat. My man talking about pull up. I don't know who was in Dr. Thunder's chat while I was going back and forth with the dude. He talking all this, yo, I'll pull up, drop your address. Nigga, if you're watching, why the fuck would I guess I'm a bitch ass nigga if I don't drop my address on the open internet, right? Hey, Gold P, where the fuck you been? My man Gold P is in the building. Yeah, that was my weekend, man. Yo, yeah, please hit the like button. Hit the like button. Shout out to Black Light Revelations. My man is in the building. Hey, Rob. Rob, yeah, you can't communicate with animals. Animals only understand force. Absolutely. Absolutely. These types of niggas, to me, are roaches. I'll kill them like roaches. That's how I feel about niggas like this. Okay? So y'all, while motherfuckers arguing about which bitches Pookie get the fuck and, oh, Pookie is a strain on the community. I don't give a fuck. I will spray these niggas like Raid. All with all my heart. Right? So shout out to Rob, because Rob, I'm about to go through some of these videos you sent me, man. Shout out to Black Light. Black Light has been sending me some things that, you know, he said will make good reaction videos because they're relevant to the conversation that I've been having with y'all. So marriage, man. Marriage. Let me play one of these videos. This is my first time looking at it, like it'll be yours, right? So this will be a first time reaction. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull this up. So, Rob, we're gonna go through this first one, man. We're gonna go through this first one. I want to check this one out. See what's going on with this shit here. Let's do it. Let me do a full screen. All right. Let's see what's good with it.
From childhood, men are fed a romantic narrative about marriage.
Let me know if y'all can hear that. I started playing it a little bit. Let me make sure y'all can hear it before we get all the way deep into it. Press 1 if you can hear it. All right, good. Before I get into that, let's go to Brandon. Say, I'm no hater. I'm just a square dude from Maryland. I guess you do what you got to do sometimes. I guess just don't got the open carry, stand your ground mindset in me. I try to de-escalate. Hey, I don't know what he had. I tried to de-escalate by leaving. Then I tried to de-escalate by telling him to leave. At that point, I can't tell him, or I can't try to leave. He got to leave first. He has to get in his car and leave. The moment I turn my back on him and get in my whip to try to leave while he's still there, I open myself up. So he got to get the fuck out of there. Get in your car. He got in his car. He drove off. And then I left. It's not the only time I've had an issue like this or a situation like this. I got more stories, but this just happened the other day. No, had to go down the way that it went down, or I put myself in danger. And motherfuckers out here, everybody holding. So I don't know who got what. I don't know what homie intentions was or whatever the case. I don't want to shoot him, but I will. I don't want to shoot him. If I shoot a motherfucker in the street, now I got to wait for police. Now I got to tell a story. Now I got to possibly go to court. Now I got to do all of that shit. But I do all that shit alive. Okay? These are the Pookies we supposed to be hating. I ain't de-escalating shit. Get the fuck out of here. And this girl told him get in the car, and they left. So let's get into this video. Thanks for the super chat, both of you.
From childhood, men are fed a romantic narrative about marriage. Find your soulmate, fall in love, get married, and live happily ever after. This fairy tale programming is so powerful that most men enter marriage believing they're making a romantic commitment based on mutual love and attraction. But here's the reality. Modern marriage is a business transaction disguised as a love story. While you're thinking about romance and partnership, she's calculating financial security and lifestyle improvement. While you're focused on building a life together, she's evaluating your earning potential and comparing you to other options. This fundamental misunderstanding puts men at a massive disadvantage from day one. You're playing by emotional rules while she's playing by economic rules. You're thinking with your heart while she's thinking with her wallet. What we call marriage today is actually a sophisticated survival strategy for women. It's not about finding love. It's about finding security. It's not about partnership. It's about provision. It's not about building together. It's about accessing what's already built.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform made for anyone with an idea.
All right. So far, this is
Women approach
this is all the stuff that we know already. This is stuff that's been covered in this space forever. Forever. This is something that everybody in the chat knows. Everybody in the chat knows this already. I'm not breaking new ground. Homie is not breaking new ground that made this video. The thing that is wild to me is that dudes are trying to, beat the odds. You're trying to beat the odds, right? So I'm going to go through this, and then we're going to talk about also child outcomes, because that is a conversation that's been happening in the space where it's like, well, if you want your kids to come out a certain way, you should be married for them to come out a certain way. And we're going to discuss that because it's not as simple as people make it. Because we all know people that come from a two-parent household that ain't shit. Okay? Let's stop playing these games. And we know people. Now I know it's exceptions versus rules. So I want to address that. But let's keep it moving. Let's go through this video.
marriage like investors approach business deals. They evaluate the Women approach marriage like investors approach business deals. They evaluate the potential returns, assess the risks, and choose the option that offers the best long-term financial prospects. The only difference is that they've been taught to disguise this calculation as romantic love. This is why women's dating preferences are so predictable. They gravitate toward men with resources, status, and earning potential. They're not being shallow, they're being strategic. They're making business decisions while calling them matters of the heart. Let's break down the actual business mechanics of modern marriage and examine what each party brings to the transaction.
Now let's pause this for a second. Once upon a time, this made sense. It made sense. Once upon a time, before the feminist revolution and women in the workplace and equal pay, before all of this stuff, this made sense. It would make sense to me that a woman who can't or could not build her own situation would want the guy who had it or the guy who was on his way to having it, because that gave her, a chance at the best future possible for her and her children. It made sense. It made sense. It doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't make sense anymore. Okay? I'm going to read some comments here. Let's see. All right, these bitches' families are broke too. That's why they're looking for a man that's better than their family. Let's see. Black Light, he says, Manosphere Hall of Fame. Looks like it may be coming. Okay. And you responding to something. Waiting for the alts to have a season. Looks like it may be coming. You know how I feel though, bro. I don't remember if mathematical all seasons possible. Oh, you talking about something else. Y'all talking about Bitcoin. So Brandon Hayes says, thank you for the super chat. I like what you're putting forth. In other cultures, due to economic factors and cultural factors and population issues, some women in other cultures accept that they must share a man with other women. When you go to the third world, which is why we have a passport bros movement in the first place, those women are dealing with men they need, not men they want. I want passport bros to understand, and this is not an anti-passport bros message, but just understand that those women are not in love neither. You're the man they need. You're not the guy they want. You're the man they need because you have more resources than the men that are local to these women. Right? It's no different. Women are women are women are women. I don't care where you go. It's just that in these environments, you have the upper hand because they don't have the laws that we have and things like that. You're the man that they need, not the man that they want. The rules don't change. So when you go to these places, understand that's a reality. If those women were here, they'd be these women. That's why you don't bring those women here. That's why the women back in the days seem better than the women today, because those women back then are basically the women overseas and they're not these women. The opportunities afforded to women in America were not available for the women of America back in the days and the women in the third world. That's why those women seem better than these women, but they're the same women. Trust me when I say this. Trust me when I say this. They're the same women. So grandmama and old auntie and this, all of those women would be these women if they had what these women have. And those women are telling these women, don't fuck with these niggas. Where you think they get it from? Y'all are putting old women from previous generations up on a pedestal, and those are the women that told these women to date the way they date. Where you think they get it from? Right? Shout out to Brandon Hayes for the super chat. Thank you, my man. Let me see. Chukwu says romanticism emerged as an ideology in Europe. Yes, in the mid 18th century, in the minds of poets, artists, philosophers, and now it's conquered the world. What they call this is like the Victorian. I forgot what the name of it. Shout out to Lucy. I see you in the chat. All right, what's going on, Lucy? Said Marcus, to your point, I just found out that some Asian and African countries have a higher baby deletion rates than Black America. Wow. And shout out to Ferg. Ferg was showing us something basically, and I could pull it up if you need me to pull it up. He was showing us that before abortion became legal the way that it is, you had higher rates of women putting up kids for adoption. Women been opting out of parenthood for a long time. As much as they call motherfuckers deadbeats, right? Women been getting pregnant, leaving their kids somewhere. How many of you watching this stream right now have uncles that didn't grow up with your grandmother? Aunts that didn't grow up with your grandmother. They grew up somewhere else. You got that one aunt and one uncle that ain't with the rest of the family. They somewhere else. By a show of ones, if you have anybody like this, press one, whether it be an uncle, an aunt, somebody from that previous generation, because I know I got them. Somebody from that previous generation that your grandmother didn't raise. That was raised somewhere else, that was probably raised by your great-grandmother. We all got them. Or most of us, a good amount of us got it. See what I'm saying? But grandma great, nana and mama and all this. Stop it. They the same women. Shout out to Accountable Commentary, AC. Shout out to him. We say the same shit. These older women are not better than these modern women. They're the same women. Let's continue. Matter of fact, before I continue, by a show of either ones or zeros, how many of you knew your grandfather? 0 if you didn't, 1 if you did. Shout out to Hood Conservative. I see you, bro. If you knew your grandfather, type 1. If you did not, type 0. Yeah, here come the zeros. I see a couple ones. Who's this here? It's Will Cochran. Hey, lucky you. All right. Revelator says 0. Q Jones says 1. Lucky you. All right. Here we go. Salute, Steph. Ghetto user says 1. Oh, you knew both of your grandfathers. All right, that's cool. See, but see, Leon, you come from one of them good families. Leon real name was Clarence. All right. And Clarence's parents had a real good marriage. My man. You was destined to win, Leon. You was destined to win, Henny. You said no? I don't know, man. Let's continue with this video.
Primary financial support for the household, housing, utilities and living expenses, health insurance and benefits, retirement planning and long-term security emergency funds, and financial backup, lifestyle maintenance and improvement, children's education and future planning, entertainment, vacations and experiences, protection and security, physical and financial, emotional stability and leadership companionship, which you can get from friends, sexual access, which decreases dramatically after marriage, domestic support, which is often outsourced or shared, child rearing, which you're expected to help with anyway, emotional support, which becomes conditional on your performance. When you look at this exchange objectively, it's clear that men are providing concrete measurable value while women are providing abstract conditional benefits. You're bringing assets, they're bringing liabilities. You're providing security, they're providing uncertainty. But here's where the deal gets even worse. The demands on men only increase over time, while the benefits decrease. As the marriage progresses, you're expected to provide more money, bigger houses, better cars, nicer vacations, and higher lifestyle standards.
You have guys that will say, "Oh, I do this and I want to." Like they'll provide, they'll pay, and they do it and they want to do it because this is, and forgive me for saying that, the natural order or the the standard, or this is what men do, right? And again, the manosphere and red pill derive from MGTOW, men going their own way, right? And what going your own way means is you ain't doing that shit that you've been taught to do. That's how we got here. That's how the manosphere and the black manosphere got here, right? We're talking about what's best for men and what's advantageous for men in this particular space, black men. What is advantageous for black men? When you look at the divorce rates in general, they're about 50-50. But when you look at the divorce rates for black men, it go beyond 50-50. So if they're above that, if the divorce rate for black people is more than half, it's more than half. It's like I asked on Dr. Thunder's channel, which one of you is willing to board a plane with less than half a chance of landing safely? I'll wait. Who here will board a plane if the chances of you crashing into a mountain were above 50%? I remember doing a video some years back, Shank. And if you were around during this time, you remember it. My message hasn't changed, okay? If there was a building and there was an 80% chance you would walk into this building and get stabbed in your stomach, beat the fuck bloody, and thrown out of that building, right? And there was a 20% chance that you will go into this building and like 8 women will molest you and take you to like new levels of like sexual orgasm. 20% chance that this would happen to you, but the 80% chance that you will, as soon as you walk through that door, you get stabbed in the stomach. Shout out to Bernard Riley. Shout out to Bernard Riley, because he took this and ran with it. 80% chance of you walking through that door and getting stabbed in the stomach. Shank. How many of you would do it? I feel like if the divorce rate was 100%, niggas would still get married. That's my point of view on it. If the divorce rate was 100%, niggas would still get married. Let's keep going.
Meanwhile, her contributions often diminish. Less sex, less appreciation, less effort, less respect. It's like signing a contract where your obligations increase every year while your compensation decreases. What kind of business would accept those terms? Let's talk about the hard financial facts that destroy the romantic illusions about marriage. You can't walk into a grocery store and pay for food with love. You can't tell your mortgage company that your deep emotional connection should cover this month's payment. You can't convince your child's school to waive tuition fees because your marriage is built on trust and communication. The practical reality is that modern life requires money, and lots of it. Housing costs, healthcare, education, transportation, food, clothing, entertainment, everything costs money. And in most marriages, that money is expected to come primarily from the man. Women understand this reality better than men do. While men are focused on emotional connection and romantic gestures, women are calculating the real costs of the lifestyle they want. They know that love without money equals struggle, and most modern women have no interest in struggling. Here's where the business deal becomes truly predatory. Women's lifestyle expectations continuously increase, regardless of your actual income. She sees her friends taking vacations to Europe, buying designer handbags, living in bigger houses, and she expects you to provide the same. Social media has weaponized this dynamic by giving women constant exposure to luxury life.
My baby won the Birkin. She been telling me all night long, this 9 to 5 ain't working. Oh, man. It's all in the music, fellas. The married men who are in the space, and there's a few of y'all, the married men that are in the space will tell you, at least the ones that'll tell the truth. At least the ones that'll tell the truth will tell you, because you got a lot of dudes that it was great and family building warriors and all this stupid shit, right? Behind the scenes, they got a tiptoe. If you're one of those guys, you ain't got a problem doing whatever it takes, spending whatever it takes to spend to keep your marriage going. Hey, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Happy wife, happy life, right? None of this is new information. Yeah, family building warriors. Y'all know who that guy is. Shout out to the hood conservative. Yeah, keep it country. I'm keep it country. I'm keep it tether. I'm keep it Brooklyn. I'm keep it Geechee. I'm all these things at the same time. Right? Right? But, this is the part that a lot of these cats won't tell you what you got to do in the marriage to keep it together. All of this stuff you got to do to keep it together, and they'll tell you that it's for the children. The children that 9 times out of 10 you ain't gonna be able to see anyway because she has ownership. Let's keep going.
Lifestyles. Every day, she's bombarded with images of women living better than she is. And guess who's responsible for closing that gap? You are. This creates an impossible situation where your financial obligations are determined not by your actual income or your family's needs, but by her peer group's lifestyle and her social media feeds. You're competing with every successful man on the planet to keep her satisfied. One of the most devastating realizations for married men is discovering that their wife's love is entirely conditional on their financial performance. Want to discover the true nature of your wife's love? Lose your job and watch what happens. Within weeks, you'll see her true character emerge. Her mood becomes consistently negative. Her respect for you evaporates. Her patience with you disappears. Her physical affection becomes rare. Her criticism becomes constant. Her suggestions about finding work become demands. Her comments about other men's success become frequent. The woman who promised to love you, for better or worse, suddenly reveals that her love was dependent on your ability to provide financial security.
So let me pause it. Shout out to Doc. There is nothing in a marriage that a woman is required by law to provide. Nothing. Her participation is purely voluntary. Everything that she provides in this marriage is voluntary. But if you don't provide, you can be, held to account by laws to provide. Laws, like she has guarantees that you do not. Okay? Her participation, her positive contributions in a marriage are purely voluntary. Women will go to work, get a salary, and stack money on your marriage. And that money ain't just not necessarily just in case you fall on hard times. That money is for her exit in case you fall on hard times. Okay? A lot of these women are going to get educations, going to school, not to meet their men, but they're going to school just in case they don't meet their man, or to secure themselves in case the relationship with you does not work out. That's why Black women seek careers. I can't speak for white women, right? Because their idea is that, you know, white women out here living this great life with on their husband's salary. We got white women in the space that'll probably tell you that ain't true. But just understand that when I talk about marriage, it's not necessarily about Black men, but Black men are the canary in the coal mine. It's worse. It's worse. So we can't use the general numbers. We have to use our numbers because the general numbers don't apply to us.
She doesn't love you. She loves what you can do for her. Women's loyalty is directly tied to their perception of their options. As long as you're the best deal available to her, she'll stay loyal. But the moment a better offer presents itself, a man with more money, higher status, or better prospects, her loyalty becomes negotiable. This is why women often have backup plans and maintain connections with other men just as friends. They're not planning to cheat. They're maintaining their investment portfolio in case their primary asset, you, becomes less valuable. In marriage, a woman's respect for her husband is directly correlated with his financial performance. When you're successful and providing well,
Nicole's elegance begins with...
So we can go to the next video. See, the thing is, while everyone knows this is true, right? For some reason, they still move forward. It was what we call purple pill. I call it blue pill. For me, there's no such thing as purple pill. You're blue or you're red. There's no in between. There's a, oh, I know that red pill exists, but I move blue. But no, you're blue pill. Because you still have this belief that it can work out for you, or you're sacrificing yourself maybe for your children, or hope, you know, again, it's a whole lot. You look at somebody like Will Smith. I ain't getting divorced no matter what. Look what this man has to go through. And at his level of success, at his level of income, is not making him any different. If you're not Will Smith, you're not Will Smith. And this is what this man is going through, right? So I did this on my Patreon, but I'm gonna do it here with this guy. I think some of y'all might have seen this guy before. You know, it's the divorce lawyer. He's James Sexton. You've seen him before. So let's get into that real quick, because these are the things that a lot of these guys. Let me tell you, none of these things are going to save us in these situations. When we talk about marriage and you're not getting along with your wife and possibly looking at divorce and not being able to see your kids. Like, I don't care what other situation, all these things that are, and people that are telling you that you should do it for this and this reason. By the time you're in that courtroom, none of these people nor belief system will be able to save you. No, it won't be able, it won't happen. Once you're in that courtroom, that's it. Like, you in there and it's going down, and you going down, motherfucker. Let's listen to homie spit some game real quick. And this is a lawyer. Now, motherfuckers that tell me, hey, Marcus, you ain't a lawyer. You can't argue with Dennis. And I'm still looking for Lord Lovesmith to jump in here and debate with me about suing Africa for reparations, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Ask Dennis, did he send the letter to Trump? Did Trump read it yet? You know, since, you know, we writing letters to Trump, and, you know, the manosphere lawyers are going to save us and get these laws passed and get reparations from Africa. Like, did Trump get the letter yet? Let's go. Let's move on with this video, man.
With me. Like, I really love it because sex is really awesome. Like that's okay. We know that, okay? It's like we can admit that. Whatever we're doing right now, fucking it'd be more fun. We can acknowledge that. Just say it out loud. It's okay. So what are we doing? We're going to trade that, right? So if we're going to be in a monogamous relationship, what we're saying is, listen, I really like fucking you. And I also would really enjoy fucking lots of other people. But I am willing to forego the opportunity to fuck lots of other people in exchange for the opportunity to fuck you regularly. So can we agree that there's going to be some minimum level of fucking that we're both going to maintain for the purposes? And if the person said, well, yes, but also one of the reasons why I fuck you is that you show tremendous kindness and grace towards me and you're complimentary to me. So could we, in exchange for those regular fuckings that are sufficient for you to forego all of the other potential fucking, that you're also going to show me a certain level of affection and attention that's going to make me feel good about myself?
So let's pause this for a second. And I want to be honest, and this is a red pill I'm going to drop. Maybe it's a black one. A lot of guys get married because, or they want to get married because their dating life is trash. They don't have access to women like other men do. So what they're trying to do is lock a woman down so they can get access to regular pussy, like he's outlining. So the same way that you might say that women are looking to lock men down for benefits or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of underfucked men, okay, that are looking to marry so they can have someone to put their dick in regularly because it's hard for them out there. It's hard for them out there. What they don't understand is that women play peekaboo pussy in marriages. They play peekaboo pussy. When they mad, you can't get no pussy. When you don't do something, you don't get no pussy. When if you get them upset, this and that and the other, they punish you with no pussy. But you're getting in these relationships, you figure if I marry her, I'll be able to fuck her regularly, and then I get regular pussy. A lot of guys get married for regular pussy. Oh, yeah, let me put that name up on the screen. Yeah. A lot of guys are getting married for... So all of this shit on the line because their dating life is trash. Their dating life sucks. They are terrible daters. Okay? If you're going to pay, just pay outright. It's cheaper. Hey, look. Some niggas will call it tricking, but some niggas got a trick. I call it tricking. That's what it is. So let's not beat around the bush. It is tricking. But some niggas got a trick. Everybody can't be Mac Daddy. So let's continue with Mr. Sexton.
Absolutely, very fair. This is a very fair transaction, right? So I know, like, okay, everyone's listening to that and going like, well, this is why I would not fuck a lawyer. Like, I get it. But isn't there something honest about that?
Let's keep it real. Keeping it real, people.
This is what Jared looked like before he went through our superhuman program. And if you didn't notice, he's an...
I'm going to have to get me a YouTube premium. Tired of these commercials. So let's get into it.
4 hours late.
Yeah, that's funny, man. You know, I've represented a number of people in sort of the underworld.
I'll bet.
And it is a fascinating. Mob divorces are actually like the easiest divorces.
In what way?
Quality of the sexes.
Do you see a difference in the, I don't even know what word to use, but the likelihood that there'll be a good partner? Do you see one sex as being better than the other at this?
Oof, boy, that's the question, isn't it?
I mean, it's really like there's the talk with Orion. You guys spoke about the unspoken things in a relationship that are so important, but we're not allowed to speak about them.
Yeah.
Which is for the man, it's the fact that I just love the way you look and your body and the curve of your waist and ass and hips. It's just, we never, I mean, I guess guys do talk about that sometimes, but in general, the fact that the woman's sexiness and attractiveness is you'll put up with a bitchy woman, you'll put up with a mean woman, you'll put up with a pain in the ass, a bipolar woman, because she's so hot. Yeah. Whereas for a woman, the fact that she's attracted to a man because the fact that he is a good provider and a protector, and she's going to provide a lifestyle that she can't achieve on her own. And there are exceptions to this where the woman is the provider and the caregiver.
Yeah. Increasingly so.
But we don't speak about these things. We talk about how kind somebody is.
We have such a hard time accepting that there is an aspect of romantic love, and particularly marriage, that is an economy. Like, we don't want to call it that because an economy feels like it's like cheapening it and turning it into something that's purely financial. But what is an economy other than we're exchanging value? You know, so my labor translates to dollars. Those dollars translates to bananas. So a certain amount of my labor is worth a certain amount of bananas, you know, and that's like how it works. That's an economy. And it's not a dirty word. Like, no one ever walks around and says, like, I can't believe my pursuit of justice on behalf of my clients is being compared to purchasing bananas. Like, fuck you. You do your job for money. I do my job for money. Yes, I also enjoy what I do. I see value in it. I think I provide value to people and to the world. I believe in the system. I think that we have a good legal system that requires vigorous advocacy. But, you know, do I do my job just for the love of the game? Like, fuck you. Like, who does that? Like, Major League Baseball players, like, they just play baseball for fun, or musicians just play music for fun? Fuck you. You want to be famous, you want to make money. Or else you just be playing in a cafe because it's just the love of the music, right? Like, you monetize things. I get it. That's capitalism. Like, don't get mad at the game, you know, like, that's the rule set. But I mean, to say that, you know,
that's why socialism doesn't work.
Well, of course, but see, look, what is marriage but an economy? Like, marriage is, look, I'm going to bring certain value to this relationship. You're going to bring certain value to this relationship. The key problem I have with marriage as it is done currently here in the West and in other places, but certainly the clay in which I work, is that there are certain promises the law can enforce, and there are certain promises it can't. So if we acknowledge if we say the quiet part out loud, that in the majority of heterosexual marriages, the man brings protection and providing, and the woman brings kindness, warmth, and care, right? And sex. That's the economy. That's the economy. I didn't make that up. Don't get fucking mad at me in the comments. I didn't make it up. It was here before me. It's going to be here after me. I promise, right? So that's the game. That's the economy. His roles, his obligations are enforceable by law. So state power can be used to enforce his obligations, not hers. The court cannot order her to be nice to him, or to fuck him, or to stay pretty, or to stay sweet and friendly to him and kind to him, or speak nicely of him, or raise the children in a meaningful way that, you know, creates value to him instead of teaching them to disrespect him, right? But his promises in that, shelter, food, financial obligations, court can force you to do that. And if you don't do it, they can put you in jail, or they can take away your driver's license, your professional licenses. So what is that? When you have a contract where only one...
Y'all gonna argue with the lawyer? I ain't supposed to argue with the lawyer in the space when he write his goofy letters to the president, right? Because Marcus, you're not a lawyer. Well, here's a lawyer. So if the logic works that way, it should work this way. Okay? Pro-blackness is not going to save you from this reality. Church and God and Jesus, none of this is going to save you from this reality. None of it. These women are not playing. They're not here to play with you. Manosphere says, Marcus, is even worse than you think. I know 3 dudes personally who are able to get more pussy than me, but their wives are less attractive than the women I touch, and they're not fucking much. And that's just a sexual conversation. Okay, Gold P, shout out to him for the super chat. He says, broads, no, I have no problem trading her in. All I got is $39.95 for the broad. She got to pay her own taxes. Gold P. What I do know is that we'll do this video, and the guys who want to get married will still get married. And the guys who still believe in marriage, and you know, when I'm in some of these chats and I'm talking about marriage, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the misogynist and this and that. Okay. Prove me wrong. Put your head in the lion's mouth and prove me wrong. Do it for whatever reason that you have in your mind that you're doing it for the children, for God, for this, for that, for whatever reason you're doing it for, because your parents want you to do it, whatever. I'm at the point where I won't have no sympathy. I've said this before. No sympathy for guys who don't listen to this. You have all the information you need. You need more proof than the proof you already have. That's what you need. When you need more proof than the proof you have, you are not red pill. You are blue pilled guy because you have a belief in something despite all the evidence against it. You have a belief in this system. You have a belief in the matrix that extends past the empirical evidence in front of you. If you're standing on the edge of a building, you look down and you see the ground 100 stories beneath you, and you still jump, you deserve to die. Your wife doesn't have to be nice to you. She doesn't have to give you access to your children. She doesn't have to do shit. They can't go after you don't get weekly sex sessions in the divorce. You don't get part of her money in the divorce. You get nothing. And you'll actually pay for her attorney in your divorce. You'll pay for her attorney that she's hired to divorce you. I don't care, Marcus. I love my girl. She's different. Again, 100 stories down, you still jump. You deserve to die. Is this guy speaking on it? Lead attorney has spoken on it. But again, it's because a lot of these guys don't have access to women outside of marriage. They think they'll get access to pussy inside of a marriage. They think their chances are better. And they're willing to risk everything that I'm talking about for that. They're willing to do it.
One side is enforceable by law under penalty of law. Like, that is a dangerous game to play if you're a man, period.
Is that unfair? It's not always the man, because sometimes the woman is the
yeah, increasingly so, but it's more often still.
But is that whole contract of marriage and divorce, is that unfair to the wealthier person?
Well, I would argue that it's what's called an adhesion contract. An adhesion contract in law school, they teach you, is a contract where there is an imbalance of power between the parties entering into the contract, so as that the contract itself is fundamentally unfair. You know, it's like, look, I'm not saying that it's wrong that we allow people to enter into this transaction. Similarly, like, if there's an unknown musician and a major record company says, okay, we're going to sign you and make you famous and give you amazing producers and give you amazing people to work with, but we're going to keep 75% of the revenue for the rest of
Gababe is not going to appear in you guys' family court proceedings, divorce court proceedings, to say that you were a good man and you did this and you did that and you don't deserve the shit that's being done to you. It's not going to appear in there to say nothing, and he's not going to be able to do anything for you. Gayogami, shout, he said, greeting and support. I appreciate you, bro. All right. Charles Curry says, you have actual attorneys speaking about this. What more can you ask for? Doc Memnon says, you can marry and be a great husband and provider. Your wife can cheat with another man who is not a provider, but is the man she's really attracted to. Again, you're the man she needs, not the man she wants. Women get the man they want in their 20s. Men get the women they want in their 6 or 7 figures. In their 6 or 7 figures. That's when they get the woman they want. Okay. Now, if you're a great enough specimen of a guy that in your youth you get all the women you want, at least sexually, great. That's great for you. It's not that many of us. It's not that many of us. But women as posted in my community tab, men marry the woman they want. Men marry the woman they want, and women marry the man they need. Any woman that you're with, she done made an evaluation on your ass. No, my woman loves, yeah. She's evaluated her relationship with you to some degree. Just fucking with you, period, from the first date. She's evaluated. And again, once upon a time, this made sense for women who are not great at, being these entrepreneurs and these modern women, and you can't get the job and this and that to propel yourself forward. It's cool to fall back on traditionalism because women can do that. It's flexible. Like, a woman could be, in the workforce and this and that. And if she don't get to certain levels of success in the workforce, then she could fall back on traditionalism and not be a loser as far as society is concerned. Right? But again, what he's saying is women are leveraging I'm nice and I look good and this and that. And that's why I said on Dr. Thunder's program, if the agreement is that I make money and I protect and I provide, and if I can't do these things, then I'm as good as dead in the dating market and in society, period. Because they said a broke man is like a broke hand. That's Chris Rock. If a man who can't provide and a man who can't protect, right? If the man can't do any of these things and women don't care whether he lives or dies, just understand that women, if you ain't nice and you ain't fit and you ain't feminine and you ain't everything that a man is looking for, or at least to some degree, some of these things, right? Then you're as good as dead. But what we have is this. It is more likely that a woman will leave her husband if he loses his income, his ability to protect and provide, right? That's his portion of the deal. It is more likely that she'll leave that man for his inability to contribute to the agreement than if she gains weight, becomes more cantankerous, etc., as she starts to lose the things that drew him to the relationship. These are the things that men are to understand is part of the deal. But for the other way around, it is not part of the deal that your contribution should go down in a marriage. As the longer you stay married, that woman, your wife, becomes the woman in the club that when you met her, you wouldn't have gave the time of day to. Says survivor benefits, ladies marry older men. Wow. Yeah. Thank you for the super chat, man. Your wife becomes the woman that you wouldn't have hollered at in the club. And you're supposed to be faithful and monogamous to this. Or you're a bad guy. Right? I've already discussed that monogamy is a myth. It's a social construct. People disagree, although we got all the proof to the contrary. Monogamy is a social construct. Humans are not monogamous animals. They're not. That's why you have to create social norms and rules to prevent them from doing this and tell them that it's a bad thing to do. Meanwhile, it's quietly understood that women will trade up on your ass. Let's continue.
Of your career. Like, but we're going to keep 75% of the revenue for the rest of your career. Like, that's, it's not a great, fair contract, but the truth is there's a lot of musicians out there and they can go on to the next one if they needed to, So once you sign that deal, like, just know you're signing a deal that's kind of unfair. You're signing a deal. You don't have to sign it.
Well, when you get married, I've been married, I've been divorced one time. And both of us. Yeah. And I think when you're getting married, you never even consider the fact that you might get divorced. We fall in love and we're just like,
and that's part of the reason, I have to tell you, it's part of the reason why I always loved the idea of working in divorce.
Please tell me that's not how you create SOPs.
Well, you got a better way?
I use Scribe.
Because I was a psychology major as an undergraduate. I thought I wanted to be a therapist. I thought I wanted to be a psychiatrist. And I remember thinking, because it was like the one thing, like, we're so full of shit. We're so full of shit as a culture all the time about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I just love, just be fucking honest. Like, just be honest. And what was so beautiful to me about it is you can't pretend you meant to get divorced. You didn't. I didn't. Like, we're both divorced men. When we got married, I was 22 when I got married. And we were going to stay together forever. We were going to be old people sitting on the front porch holding hands while the kids or grandkids ran around, because I believed it. I believed the whole thing because I had no idea. I had no idea what was in store, what would be expected of me, expected of her, how we would both feel, how we would both change. Like, because how could you? How could you possibly know that at 22 years old or 24 years old or even 30 years old? Like, I'm 51, man. I look back at the shit I believed when I was 30 and I go, how was I that stupid? How did I not see such obvious things about myself? But that's the nature of blind spots, is you can't see them. That's why they're blind spots. So I think fundamentally, we don't look at marriage honestly because we want to believe so badly in this fairy tale. And why wouldn't we? It's fucking beautiful. It's like the idea that there's just this person out of 8 billion people and you're just going to somehow stumble into them. And then the two of you are going to feel that rush that we all feel, even in the worst of relationships at the beginning, and you just, like, we want to believe it's so true. I have to say something. I used to say, when you're like a kid, you have like the fantasy if you could be invisible, like, what would you do, And always when you're a teenage boy, you're like, I would be in like the girls' locker room or something, it would always be something that involves seeing boobs. But as an adult, I have to say, if I had the power of invisibility right now, I would break into a number of my clients' homes and go to their attic and find their fucking wedding album. Because I would love in a way I can't describe to look at their fucking wedding photos. Because the only experience I've had of these people is her on one side of the courtroom and him on the other side of the courtroom, and them just shooting daggers at each other across and like sniping at each other however they could, either directly or through their counsel. And like the thought of like looking at these same two people, like looking at each other with such like, oh, you're my person, I love you. Like, that's amazing. And by the way, don't you think we should like take people who are about to get married and make them look at the fucking wedding video of those people and then make them come to court and watch it and just go, look, this is like, why don't we do like Scared Straight? You remember they used to do Scared Straight? Like, they're like, you want a gangbang kid? Well, now we're going to bring you and show you what your future's like and bring you to prison. Like, why don't we do that with like young marrieds? People get engaged and it's like, great, before you can legally marry, you have to come hang out in the matrimonial part of New York County Supreme Court. And you just have to sit there and watch these two people who used to fucking love each other just as much as the two of you think you do. And now they are tearing each other apart limb from limb like it's blood sport. And they're
I'm going to skip ahead, but right now what I'm looking for, we're about to discuss child outcomes, because a lot of arguments that are being made for marriage is connected to child outcomes. So I'm gonna skip forward to where he's talking about prenups. So let's check that out while I pull this up.
Got it.
I think you've single-handedly done more for the concept of prenups than anybody else.
I have to tell you, if there has been a side effect of my conversation with you, my first conversation with you, it has been an inflow of prenups. I have more people, which, by the way, why couldn't I have found a way to publicize much more expensive things that I do? Prenups, you don't make a lot of money on prenups. Like, prenups are really easy to do. Make a couple of grand doing a prenup, but it takes us, a certain amount of time to do it. Like, I really should have come up with like some other thing I could monetize, because I get more calls from people saying, oh, I saw you on something. off on Underbelly, or I saw you here there, and I'd like to, you to do my prenup. And I mean, it's great. I think it is great that there's a proliferation of people that have figured out, like, yeah, we should get prenups. And by the way, I'm seeing it on both sides now. I'm seeing a lot of women now coming in and saying, oh yeah, let's have a prenup. I have a lot of people who, this happens a lot. I've had a lot of people who saw my first interview and they go, yeah, my girlfriend and I watched it in bed. And I was like, you guys should find better shit to do in bed than watching an interview with me, for 3 hours. But they'll say, oh yeah, we were watching it in bed and we both got a kick out of it. But we both were like, oh, we should do a prenup. And so can you meet with both of us? And I'm not really allowed, we're not allowed to do that because it's a potentially adverse situation, like more for you is less for you and more for you is less for you. But it's always very cool to me to think that, like, there are people sitting around.
A couple can't come into your office to get a prenup?
They're really not supposed to. I mean, because you can only represent, as an advocate, you can only represent one person.
No, you should figure out a way around that. Because if I was about to marry somebody, I would want us both to, like, I always saw prenups as something that would destroy the purity of a truly loving relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just like, there's an element of risk.
Sure.
In a marriage and something like that. And the prenup kind of takes away that risk. Now you know what you have to lose, you know what you have to win, and that's it. And it's like that seems to taint the purity of the love.
See, and I don't see it that way.
No,
because I
So by show of ones, and this was a discussion that me and the doc had, how many guys in here are married? How many men in here right now are married? I won't blow you up. But for those willing to type one, if you're married. All right, Leon, I already knew. Okay. All right. For the guys that are in here that are married, how many of you have prenups? How many black men in here have prenups? He said, my wife's families ain't broke. It has nothing to do with nothing. How many have prenups, right? Said prenups are nearly useless. I won't say that, but depends on where you are. But I want to know how many guys in here are married with a prenup. I guarantee you the number is 0. I guarantee you the number is 0. Okay. Me and the doc was having this conversation. Said, well, guys can get married with the prenup and they could do this thing. They're not doing it because women are not doing it. And that's why I told Doc, women are not signing the prenup. They're not doing it. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, why even suggest something like, if the whole idea is to get married and have children and so that these children, benefit from this, 2-parent home. This 2-parent home, you want to have a situation where, the woman is not incentivized to leave, not just to protect yourself, but to lend more to the idea that the woman won't leave because there's not really much that she can gain from leaving. Right? So, no, you can't protect yourself this way because it's not going to happen. What'll happen is eventually the guy will fold. You dating one chick, you bring up, if you're bold enough to bring up a prenup and I'm not signing the prenup. One or two things are going to happen. She's going to say, I ain't getting married without it. And then you walk away. Okay, great. Hooray for you. Eventually, you're going to meet another woman who's she's going to say the same thing. And 9 times out of 10, eventually you're going to get married without a prenup because you're going to be like, damn, I can't find a woman who's willing to sign a prenup. You said, why not domestic partnerships? Because the women don't want them. It is the woman, not the man, that dictates the rules of the animal relationship and the sexual relationship. and where the woman does not derive a benefit, such a relationship does not exist. Say honestly, when I was married, prenup never crossed my mind because we wasn't raised with that ideology. I thought that was for rich folks. I hear you. But these are the things that's being suggested to protect yourself, and it's not really going to happen. He said, no, the real question is how many married men had to smack your wife. Oh, man. Let me see. Okay. So let's go into this. I want to share this, right? I'm about to share this. Let me drop homie down. We'll probably come back to this, but I want to share this, right? So we're gonna read through some. We're gonna read through some, right? This ain't the link that I was looking for, but let's see if the information that I was looking for is on here. So let me stop that one and bring this one in. Okay. So what this is called, and I'm gonna increase it. I'm gonna expand it in a second. What this is called is, are married parents really better for children? Okay. Now I'm gonna jump in front of this and say, married, it's like the doc said, one thing he was right about, right? And he was right about it, but it's pretty like it's quicksand to stand on. He said, in situations where people get married and they stay married, it's better for the kids. Shout out to Kobe. I see you, bro. Marriages where people get married and stay married are better for children. That's not even, it's not debatable. I'm gonna say it again so you hear me say it. If two people get married and they stay married, child outcomes increase. The likelihood, let's not say, because ain't shit guaranteed, but the likelihood of child outcomes goes up. Okay. So let's go through some of this, right? So, okay, single parent families are much more common than they were 40 years ago. Rates have increased across race and income groups, but single parenthood is more prevalent among African Americans and Hispanics. 22% of African American children were living in a single parent home in 1960, and by 2001, the percentage had doubled to 53%. For whites, the percentage nearly tripled from 7 to 19% over the same time period. 3 out of 10 Hispanic children lived with single parent families, right? So let's go. Are children better off if they grow up with their married biological parents? In 1994, Sarah McClanahan and Gary Sandifer, whatever, using evidence from 4 nationally representative data sets, compared the outcomes of children growing up with both biological parents, with single parents, and with step parents. Okay. They found that children who did not live with both biological parents were roughly twice as likely to be poor and to have a birth outside of marriage and to have behavioral and psychological problems and to not graduate from high school. Mind you, let me repeat this wording, that they did not live with both biological parents. Now, that didn't say shit about marriage, did it? You got to pay attention to context, right? That'll get addressed later though, right? Because we're talking about single parents and with step parents, but we're not talking about biological parents that are not married. One of my arguments to the good doc was that a child's outcome is severely increased by the involvement and the presence of his father, and in some cases, even in the absence of the mother. All situations are better than single mother situations. All of them. Arguing against marriage, right, with somebody who's pro-marriage and them using the argument that kids come out better in a marriage is like, first of all, the relationship between the biological parents comes packaged with the marriage. So is it the marriage that has the outcome, or is it the involvement of both parents? Let's not do a causation correlation fallacy here. The marriage itself is not increasing the outcome of the kid. It's the presence of both parents, right? Henceforth, his argument that if the parents stay married, that is the requirement, that the parents do not divorce or split or separate. One thing that I notice when we talk about divorce rates, and I'm probably going to be the only guy to mention this, when we talk about divorce rates, nobody ever talks about separations. Separations where the divorce does not take place. A legal divorce does not happen. Kevin Samuels was separated from his wife, but they never divorced. You have a lot of guys who separate from their wives. They don't divorce. What is the percentage on that? And if you add that to the divorce rate, what do you end up with? If you add a separation percentage to the divorce rate, what number do you end up with? So we can sit here and say the divorce rate is 50%, or that for black people is slightly higher, maybe in the 80s. But what's the number on that once you include separations? Now, if you tell me that separations don't have an effect on child outcome, you're lying to me. It is a cognitive dissonance that you are performing if you tell me that separations don't have the same effect. If you're going to say that co-parenting reduces child outcome, and you got to agree that divorce does too, you can't say that separation doesn't either. This is not shit that we count. Let me read a comment here. Hey, look, if you want me to read your comment, the more you type, the longer is. I love paragraphs, man. I'm a reader. So we're going to read Gayagames, and let me know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Gayagame. That's how it reads to me. I'm going to read his comment. Where's my mouse? Trying to bring your shit up to the screen, Playboy. All right, here we go. Not to mention the result would be an average of all those non-biological couples formations. The result of single mothers would lower the overall stats, even when single fathers have better results. Single fathers definitely have better results than single mothers. You can't use single motherhood as the standard to say marriage is better. You're using the worst common denominator to make an argument for marriage. That's a bad argument, especially when there are other options available. So let's continue, right? Let's continue. Of course, most children in single parent families will not experience these negative outcomes. Most. But what is the level and degree of risk for the average child? The answer depends on the outcome being assessed as well as other factors. They reported that the single parent families had a much higher poverty rate. Now, mind you, when they say single parent families, they do mean single mother. Okay? They do mean single mother. They also found that the risk of dropping out of high school for the average white child was substantially lower in a two-parent biological family than a single parent or step family for the average African American child. Right? Because the average Black American child is with a single mother. Right? So they're comparing a white kid in a two-parent home to a Black kid with a single mother. It's apples and oranges, I think, right? So for the average, the risk of dropping out of high school was 17% in a two-parent family versus 30% in a single or step-parent family. So understand this. The percentage that a black kid will drop out of high school with two parents is still higher than the white kid with two parents. Again, the argument that I make is our stats are not white people stats. They're not. Now, is 17% better than 30? Yeah, okay. But it's still trash. It's still trash. It's still trash. Hey, well, you know, okay, all right. Just spoke to my daughter today. Yes, she wanted something, but she was so comfortable speaking to me about what's going on with her. Jay Jermaine, what's good, bro? Good to see you up in the building. I think this might be the link that I'm looking for. But yeah, shout out to you, bro. Let me tell you, as much shit as I talk, it's very good for me to see black men that are allowed access to their children. Black men whose children are interested in the relationship, because we know how it usually goes. Right? Says 17% is 1 in every 6 children. Yeah. And Ferg is my stats guy. Shout out to you. Yeah, shout out to you. 17 is, 1 in every 6 children, right? So let's keep moving. All right, so here's the Hispanic numbers, but we're gonna move past that. Up to half of the higher risk for negative educational outcomes for children in single-parent families is due to living with a significantly reduced household income. So when we talk about your Nick Cannons and your Cam Newtons that aren't getting married, you're creating broken homes. I would imagine that these children that they're having have access to more money than your average two-parent household. With an involved dad. The motherfucker's there. He's involved. He'll tell you, hey, look, I want more kids. This is my mouse. I'm trying to get this comment down. Yeah, so other major factors are related to disruptions. Here we go. In the family structure, including turmoil from a child experiences when parents separate or recouple with a step parent. So if we want to talk about child outcomes in marriages that form and don't break up, you got to look at the number of marriages where nobody divorces versus this. The argument falls apart when you have a high separation divorce rate. Then your ass as a man is on the chopping block, right? But aside from that, the child outcomes, the positive child outcomes that you rolled the dice for in the first place become a moot point. You're back to your single parent realities. So if you have, as a black man, a more than 50% chance of divorce, those married and get married or married and stay married child outcome likelihoods, not guarantees, but likelihoods don't even apply to you, and they apply to you less just for the fact you're black in the first place. It's right here. People telling me, but the studies, Marcus. Well, here are the studies. Argue with the researchers. Said all these data sets that they use to come up with these conclusions. I don't have a problem posting this link. Okay. So even your married and stay married as black people numbers are less than other demographics married and stay married numbers, and those get worse if the relationship is either in conflict as I'll continue to read, or if you separate or divorce. So all of these chances that you're taking for the positive child outcomes. Okay, so how do child outcomes vary amongst types of families? Co-parenting, two-parent families with all single-parent families often mask important subtleties. Subsequent research has added to our understanding of the range of family structures by examining separately the data for divorced, widowed, never married, and cohabitating parents, married step parents, and same-sex couple families. We're going to skip right past that bullshit unless y'all want me to get into it, but I'm not interested in that. While this research has revealed important nuances, which is what I told the good doc, there are nuances. We can't oversimplify and just say married couples, good child outcomes, because it's a lie. It's an oversimplification and it's a misuse of stats. It's a misuse of stats. Now, here I come with the data. Y'all niggas like data. Okay? So, here we go. As previously noted, children may experience more than one type of living arrangement over their childhoods. This section provides demographics on different types of families and discusses some research findings on various childhood outcomes. Before they reach adulthood, nearly 4 out of 10 children will experience the divorce of their parents. Roughly 1 million children will experience their parents' divorce every year. Research shows that, on average, children of divorced parents are disadvantaged compared to children of married parent families in the area of educational achievement. Children of divorce are more than twice as likely to have serious social, emotional, and psychological problems as children of intact families, 25% versus 10%. Most divorced families with children experience enormous drops in income, which lessen somewhat over time but remain significant for years unless there's a subsequent parental cohabitation or remarriage. Declines in income following divorce account for up to half the risk of kids dropping out of school, regardless of income prior to the divorce. Right? So we can talk about widowed parents and, this is what happens, right? Sometimes, but we ain't talking about that. But let's touch. So children, let me read this part here. Children of widowed mothers are about half as likely to drop out of school or have a teen birth as children of divorced or children born outside of marriage. So children of women whose husband died, they have better outcomes than divorced kids who experience a divorce. So it's better off y'all niggas die than she leave you. Shout out to Bray J. Let's go. Thank you for the super chat. If people had to study the laws and pass an exam to get a marriage license, nobody would marry. It's crazy. Nobody would marry. The drivers, commercial drivers, and concealed gun licenses require study and passing exams to get them. Now, we could talk about this section here, never married mothers, but do we really need to? We know what the outcomes are on single parent or single mother households, because most single parent households are single mother households. They like to say single parent, but what they mean to say is single mother. Let's not tiptoe around language. Okay? But never married mothers are significantly younger, have lower incomes, fewer years of education, and are twice as likely to be unemployed as divorced mothers. While the age of the mother has some effect, most of the differences between the two groups remain even when age is taken into account. Regardless of the mother's age at birth, a child born to an unmarried mother is less likely to complete high school than a child whose mother is married. Okay. It's wonderful. But the divorce rates kind of kill all these benefits that we're trying to get. Again, you know, I won't argue against the obvious. Right? So let's keep going. Okay, so now we get to cohabitating parent families. These are parents that are not married but are living together, right? So the phenomenon of cohabitation, homes in which two adult partners of the opposite sex live together but are not married, has become more common in the last 40 years. In 1970, there were 523,000 unmarried couple households, while in 2000, 4.9 million opposite sex couples cohabitated. About 40% of cohabitating households in 2000 included children. While this equates to a small proportion of the total children in the U.S., the proportion of children who will live in a cohabitating household at some point during their childhoods is estimated to be 4 in 10. Cohabitation is more common among couples with lower levels of education. Also, African American and Hispanic cohabitating households are roughly twice as likely as white cohabitating households to include children. However, while births within cohabitating unions have sharply increased for whites, accounting for almost all of the increase in non-marital births among white women, among Black women, births to cohabitating couples account for less than 1 in 5 of non-marital births. Okay, so let's go to the outcomes part. Research suggests that children cohabitating families are at higher risk of poor outcomes compared to children of married parents. But listen to why. Partly because of unstable living conditions, not because they're not married, right? The average cohabitating union lasts about 2 years, with roughly half ending in marriage. So these people eventually get married, half of them, 50% of cohabitation couples. Once married, formerly cohabitating parents have a much higher dissolution rate than couples who did not live together prior to marriage. Isn't Birdman is now getting divorced from Tony Braxton after being with this motherfucker for all these years. They married for 1 year, now they getting divorced. You cohabitate with this person all these years, don't get married. Just stay cohabitating. Your likelihood for getting divorced is high. Okay? One study found that of children born to cohabitating parents who later marry, 15% will have their parents separate by the time they are 1 year old. Half will not be living with both parents by age 5, and 2/3 will not live with both parents by age 10. In comparison, 4% of children born into marital unions experience the breakup of their parents by age 1, 15% by age 5, and about 1/3 by age 10. Children living with cohabitating parents, even if their parents later marry, are thus likely to experience considerable instability in their living situations. However, there is some evidence that cohabitating African American parents who marry may achieve the same level of stability for their children as African American couples who marry prior to having children. That same, 17%? Or was it 30? Right? But again, that's if they get married and stay married. Research suggests the importance of distinguishing between cohabitating families with two biological parents and those with a biological parent and another partner. Some evidence indicates that school achievement and behavioral problems are similar among children living with both biological parents, regardless of marital status, and that children in both formal and informal step families also fare similarly in these areas. What I was trying to explain to the doc was that there was much more nuance to this than simply saying getting married just raises the outcomes of your children. It doesn't work that way. You got to go nuance. And when I go back and forth with the good doc, the audience gets mad at me because they think that I'm attacking the good doc, and I'm calling him the good doc because I rock with the good doc. I just disagree with him, and I think that this conversation is a scapegoat to induce men to walk down the aisle and sign a marriage certificate because of religious beliefs. And people are entitled to their religious beliefs, but they're not. Nobody's entitled to say things that aren't true. It's not true. If you're saying this is the research that points to this, well, here it is. Here it is. I challenge anyone in the space, including Dr. Thunder, to find research that counters this. I'm good with it. I'm open to being wrong. I'm open to being wrong. But it's like when they say, well, married men make more, because they have to. You're supporting more people. You got to work more. You got to work more overtime. You got to seek employment that pays you more because you got people living with you, that you got to be a real man and support everybody. Then you be on the internet holding a can of beer talking about my wife ain't never had to work. And then your kids will be on, Fix My Life talking about they don't never see your ass. Roughly half of marriages are projected to end in divorce, 60% of which have children, and many of these couples remarry. In 96, about 7% of children, or 5 million children, live with a step parent, and estimates indicate about 1/3 of all children today may live with step parents before reaching adulthood. I would say that has an impact on outcome. Okay. Right. Half, right? 60%, right? All of these things, all these numbers. Let's read some comments. I want to see what y'all think. Gold P says, no 100. He was married to Tony Braxton for a month or two. Then they got divorced. He should have known off top it wasn't going to work. We knew that from all that crying she did for years. Yeah. Unbreak my heart. PK says, I can't really manage 2 times, but 1 point time I'll catch up with You saying something else. Okay. All right. PK, what's going on, bro? I see you. So basically, if the parents of kids are together and not in a toxic relationship, then it can work. The title doesn't matter. Absolutely. And that was my point the whole time during this discussion. And shout out to Dr. Thunder. He was on earlier. But in order to kind of like give a greater likelihood to these child outcomes, you have to have a conversation, a relationship that's almost conflict free. You have to stay married, and you have to have a conflict free environment for these kids to thrive in. And then you increase the likelihood. Not guaranteed. And then you have to have the financial basis on which these kids can. So you together and everything great, and y'all some broke motherfuckers, then okay, now you're dealing with that issue. All your ducks got to line up. All of your shit, all the stars got to line up. Your ducks got to be in a row, your T's crossed and your I's dotted. Yeah. Yeah. For these outcomes. For these outcomes. You got to have bread on it. After all of this that we talking about, throw bread on it. Now they say, well, married couples are more likely to have more money in the situation? Well, we just read that, you know, a lot of these people don't. And again, if your money ain't great, don't have kids. If you ain't, if you know, this is what we tell guys. If you're not in the financial position to do it, don't do it. Because the likelihood, if your money, and we started, that's where we started with marriage, with the lawyer and the other video that we watched, women will leave you over some bread. If your money ain't right, you ain't got it together, your marriage is more likely to end, and it's worse if you have kids. Okay? In spite of their better economic circumstances on average, children in step families face many of the same risks as children of never married or divorced parents. They are more likely to have negative behavioral, health, and educational outcomes, and they tend to leave home earlier than children who live with both married biological parents. However, the effect sizes are small for many of these differences. Okay. The percentage of married and stay married people is getting lower by the day. You think you're special? Have at it. Shank, shank. Risk levels may vary according to race and level of socioeconomic disadvantage. Race. Y'all some niggas. Here you go, nigga right there, and you a nigga, and there's some niggas over here, and you a nigga too. Y'all some niggas. Niggas all in here. All y'all niggas. Y'all some niggas in here. Let's not talk about white people stats, please. Talk about Negro stats. More Negroes in here than non-Negroes. There's a reason we have a black manosphere. Talk about black shit. Shit that affects you. Don't use Rollo Tomasi stats. Okay? In this black shit. In this obsidian, you know, angry man, BGS shit that you can't use. You don't use those stats here. You can't do it. You can't do it. Has nothing to do with you. Fuck all to do with you. Y'all some niggas. Remember school days? You's a nigga. We's niggas. You gonna be niggas. Trying to tell y'all, man. Oh man. There's so many laws that men don't know about before entering into a marriage and a relationship with a single woman. Y'all see old boy play football. I wanted to touch on that. I'm glad I ain't forget it. Thank you, Bray J. This kind of triggered this memory. What is this? Travis Hunter? Oh, that shit about to be over. Oh my God. Oh my God. That shit about to be a wrap. And I hope he gets out of that unscathed. I hope. Right? It'd be nice. I don't feel bad for him. If he got, fuck him. If he got, fuck him. He was warned. He didn't into that shit without, he even flexed in front of niggas like, we's in love, fuck y'all, da 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 da. All right, bow. Hit that nigga over the head. I don't know if y'all want me to cover this same-sex family shit. They ain't got shit to do with us. I'll give you the link if you want to read about same-sex couples and their effects on children. You can read this in your leisure time. I'm not interested. So one study found that African American daughters in step families were 92% less likely to have engaged in sex than African American daughters of single mothers. They were also less likely to become pregnant. So this is a step family, or I would say also cohabitating. right? Cohabitating. They doing a comparison to married biological parents, right? But they're not saying cohabitating. Cohabitating biological parents. Those are the numbers that I want. You with your woman, y'all got a kid together, but y'all not married. Rev says Travis Hunter doubled down on it, so he gets what he deserves. Absolutely. I have no sympathy for simps. None. Zero. Zilch. Not at all. Get what you get. Okay? All right? So does family structure or reduced income make the difference? If the negative effects of single parenthood on child well-being were primarily due to a lack of loss of income, one would expect children living with two adults to do as well as those living with their married biological parents, but this is not the case. Research shows that children living with two adults, i.e. cohabitating parents or in a step family, do not do as well as children living with married biological parents on a number of variables. But listen to the variables. If income was a factor or the major factor behind negative association between the single parenthood and child outcomes, one would expect children of single parent families who are not poor to have better outcomes than children of poor single parent families. However, in a recent study in Sweden, where the safety net is stronger than in the US and where the poverty rate among single mothers is very low, found problems for children of Swedish single parent families similar to those found for children of American single parent. But that's a bad comparison. Why do we keep comparing shit to single parent? Am I missing something? Tell me if anybody in the chat want to tell me, am I missing something? Maggie, I don't know if you're in here, but tell me if I'm missing something. We're supposed to be comparing cohabitating parents with married biological parents. That's apples to apples. Marriage and marriage removed. I don't want to hear shit about single mothers or single parents. I want the comparison to be made of two people in the household, married versus unmarried. This is the games that people play with these stats, but let's continue. Is it the marriage itself or the kind of people who marry? And that's the other thing. And stay married. See where it says and stay married? Who marry and stay married. Right? This is the important part. Marry and stay married. Got to stay married. Or it's not even debatable. It is often suggested that the positive effects of marriage on child well-being are likely derived not from marriage itself, which is my argument, but the distinctive characteristics of the individuals who marry and stay married. That's not my point, but known as the selection effect, but it's valid. In many of the more recent studies, researchers have attempted to control for most of the selection effects through various statistical methods. For example, research on women with a first premarital pregnancy leading to a birth, right? Leading to a birth, found those who had shotgun weddings, i.e. married while they were pregnant, experienced a poverty rate of less than half of those who did not marry. Of course, again, the single mother bullshit, right? There may be certain benefits to marriage, such as access to health insurance, tax advantages, like the doc said, that contribute to increased likelihood of child well-being. Now, mind you, earlier they said, well, increased income doesn't do this or this, but now they're saying tax advantages, which is a financial benefit, contribute to the increased likelihood of child well-being. In addition, it remains possible that those who marry also have attributes unmeasured in existing surveys, such as commitment, loyalty, and future orientation, all right, that distinguish them from those who don't marry and stay married, right? It is also possible that the marriage itself, the act of actually getting married, changes the attitudes and behaviors of couples in positive ways. Well, we hope it does. We hope it does. And it does for some people. For some people, there's more at stake, especially men. For men, there's more at stake, right? You would think for women there would be more at stake, but nowadays women feel like, you know, we can get married, I can get divorced, and then I go back into dating and find somebody better than you. Okay. So doesn't the quality of the relationship matter? And here we go. The quality of the relationship between parents matters to child well-being. Children who grow up in married families with high conflict experience lower emotional and well-being than children who live in low conflict families, and they may experience as many problems as children of divorced or never married parents. Research indicates that marital conflict interferes with the quality of parenting. Furthermore, experiencing chronic conflict between married parents is inherently stressful for children, and children learn poor relationship skills from parents who aren't able to solve problems amicably. When parents have a high discordant relationship, children are often better off in the long run if their parents divorce. Between 30 and 40% of divorce of couples with children are preceded by a period of chronic discord between the parents. In these situations, children do better when their parents divorce than if they stay married. So you could get married, you can stay married, but if this bitch is a problem, your kid might go knock a motherfucker up or get knocked up if it's a girl, and have all these same issues, behavioral and educational, then never married parents or never children in with never married parents or divorced parents. But then here it even suggests that the kids are better off if you got an issue with your woman and y'all split. Again, nuance, niggas. Nuance. Get married and your kids will come out great. No, it don't work this way. It's not that fucking simple. Bro, my mother generation, no matter if they were broke or had money, basically got $15K for having children. Now ladies have insurance and they spend $5K to birth a baby and throw government is offering. I don't understand the last part. I got lost. I agree with this. My parents were together when I was a kid, but were fighting 24/7. I dipped at 16 and didn't go back. I'm happy my mom believed in handling her and my dad's issues in private. I almost never saw their arguments. Yeah. It's because those studies have the anticipation of the evolution of societies according to news trends. The powers that be must calculate and govern in consequence. Sweden and France have different problems. We see those boys in the street going against the state. Yeah, regular bras think they can call the shots now. You know what I'm saying? We got simp niggas like a Mary Brown pushing these women into single parent situations. They'll tell these women, you had a kid by yourself, the nuclear family is this and that and yada, yada, yada. I would agree with the good doc that marriage to biological parents gives better child outcomes. Is again, it's not debatable. It's just that how likely is the marriage to survive? And that is always the question. So on the premise, you're correct. But once you put in these nuances, the likelihood that not only that the marriage will last, but the marriage will last conflict-free is low. And then you're entering the danger zone anyway. Okay. of never married parents or divorced people. Okay. What is the relationship between marriage and poverty? Children living with single mothers are 5 times as likely to be poor. We know this already. Ta-da, surprise. You shocked? No, I ain't. Let's skip it. For example, research evidence indicates that in low-income African American communities, the high rate of male unemployment is one of the factors that explains why low-income mothers do not marry. Serious and long-term financial distress can also wreak havoc on the marriage, and this may lead to marital breakup. Nigga, if you broke, she out of there. This is what's going on. They'll get pregnant for you. We seen the video from the late 70s, early 80s where the women were like, hey, look, I got his baby. I ain't trying to marry him because he ain't got no job. We seen those, right? But, you know, he was a fly nigga and, you know, he was tall and he's in shape and I like the swag and I have his baby. But like, okay, now that I got this baby and the reality hit me, this nigga whose genetics was suitable to duplicate cannot support this situation. Okay. So conclusion, research indicates that on average, children who grow up in families with both their biological parents in a low conflict marriage are better off in a number of ways than children who grow up in single step or cohabitating parent households. Yeah, if the stars line up, of course they're better off. Which means get married to her, gentlemen. Don't be arguing. Don't fight. Give her everything she want and need. And make sure she doesn't get divorced and, you know, just make sure with your magic. Make sure she doesn't want to leave you. You know, vet her. Make sure that before you get married, do you do your vetting? Yeah. Research indicates, hey, look, in a perfect world, right? In a perfect world, yeah. Of course, the research is going to indicate that, yo, if everything works out, look, your kids come out better. They come out better. Look, if you ain't got no issues at all. Is that the reality we're living in? I mean, again, what are we doing? Compared to children who are raised by their married parents, children in other family types are more likely to achieve lower levels of education, become teen parents, and to experience health, behavioral, and mental problems. And children in single mother and cohabitating parent families are more likely to be poor. And that's because cohabitating parent families are likely to be Black. Not because they're cohabitating, they're likely to be poor, but they're more likely to be poor because there's some cohabitating niggas. Thus being said, most children not living with married biological parents grow up without serious problems. This being said, most children not living with married biological parents grow up without serious. Most. Now, they don't say a number here, right? And at least not right here. But yeah, most kids that don't grow up in this perfect situation grow up without serious problems. It's just that their outcomes are not on par with the ones. Yeah. In individual situations, marriage may or may not make a child better off. Yeah. That's the conclusion. There's no guarantees here. Depending on whether the marriage is healthy and stable. See the quotes around healthy? The quotes, right? Marriage may also be a proxy for other parental characteristics that are associated with relationship stability and positive child outcomes. So not the marriage, but the things that come packaged with the marriage. Okay? The legal basis and public support involved in this institution of marriage helps to create the most likely conditions for the development of factors that children need most to thrive: consistent, stable, love and attention from two parents, right? Who cooperate and have sufficient resources and support from 2 extended families, 2 sets of friends in society. Marriage is not a guarantee of these conditions. However, these conditions exist. These conditions exist in other family circumstances, but they are less likely to. So my argument was, if you have all of these factors without the marriage certificate, right? You're likely to have the same. If you have a low stress, low conflict cohabitation situation where both parents are making money, they're not conflicting with each other, and all these things exist, and you got, again, 2 sets of parents and 2 sets of families, and all that shit that I just mentioned, that I just read right there, existing. That is what increases child incomes, not a piece of license paper. Okay? Not the legal shit, none of that shit. All that shit is irrelevant, right? And again, this is for anyone in this space. Let this serve as the argument that I am making, right, against this idea that positive child outcomes are exclusive to a marriage certificate. It's not exclusive. Let's say a few more things. Anytime you have a child with a woman in the West, you're taking a big chance. I don't give a fuck if you're married or not. This is what I didn't get to mention on the docs stream. Having a child, married or unmarried, you are rolling dice here in this country. Because the laws, even regarding that, are not on your side. Said, I agree with this. Okay, I read that one already. Let me scroll down a little bit. Let me get some more. Where's Maggie at? Is Maggie here? Is it because they believe the single parent is the family? Yeah. But they often leave like the gender. When they say single parent, it's like arguing with vegans, right? You argue with vegans and they say, well, you know, meat does this and meat does that. And what they really mean is red meat. And they don't mean chicken, turkey, or fish. They mean red meat. When their argument is really about animal activism, they're PETA people, right? So when they make these vegan claims, you know, what they don't mention to you is, you know, that there are things in meat that you can't get outside of meat, people. And biologically, you as a human being, you got to eat some meat. Pause. Vegan, socially constructed ideology that does not agree with your biology. It doesn't. It doesn't agree with your biology. It'd be nice if we could stop eating the animals, but we can't. The animals eat the animals. So get married to her and pray to white Jesus and BGS it more that it works. Yes. Pray to BGS it more. Yes. Holy BGS. Please let this marriage work and please let her not divorce me. You know? And let the Force Ghost be with you. All right. This is why KeepItOneHunned will never get married. Hey, look, man. 14 years old talk about fuck this. This shit don't look good. It's a bad contract. These niggas out here want to get married, but they won't sign the bad boy. So men can get their head bust even if they're not married, still in the court system. What you said? You say you do not have natural rights to your children. Natural rights to your children come just due to the fact that you're the biological father. You should not have to legally get married to have natural rights. When we talk about nature, and see a lot of these arguments, I ain't gonna say arguments, but a lot of these debates that I have with people in this space is nature versus what the social construct. And a lot of people are passing off social contract as nature, and it's not. It's not. These things would not vary from culture to culture if they were natural. Okay. So, yeah, you do not have natural rights towards your children in America. Okay. Milk doesn't agree with adult human biology, but is socially it's encouraged. But when you ask how milk was discovered, people look at you like you're the crazy one. If you think about it, right? And I'm imagining you're talking about like milk out of a cow, right? Which, you know, we all grew up drinking and I stopped. I don't fuck with milk at all. I fuck with almond milk, and people are like, but Marcus, almond milk is just water over some almonds. That's cool. Fool me into thinking I'm drinking the milk that I grew up drinking. Fool me is a good enough placebo for me to believe that I'm still fucking with the milk that I grew up fucking with. Yeah, cow milk. Right. One day somebody pulled me aside like, yo, that's cow's milk. Okay, what about it? Do you see cows drinking out of women's titties? We drink milk from animals. It's cool, I guess. You know, cheese and shit like that. How many dudes in here? Because I hear there's a phenomenon. Hey, Rob, you heard of this shit? There are bodybuilders that are buying breast milk from women for their workout. You have men that will think that's disgusting to drink a woman's breast milk, but they will drink a cow's udders, right? Shout out to the one, that's my man. We fuck with the almond milk. Shout out to him, right? That's what I'm saying. You got guys that will think that drinking the milk of a human female is more disgusting than drinking cow's milk. What's up, Gail? Oh, you just walked up in here. Said, because the human growth hormone in it, probably, yeah. Because it could cause an immune issue if they are reacted to the antigen, but people are so stupid. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, when you think about it, it's kind of weird that we do this, right? It's normal because we've been doing it socially. Like, you're born, you look around, you see the black people picking the cotton, you see the white people ain't picking no cotton. You're like, oh, I guess I must be picking the cotton. Let me go pick some cotton. Let me pick more cotton than them niggas over there. So maybe massa, treat me better. He said, I tap my wife's breast milk all the damn time. I've mixed it in my coffee. Ah, shit. Yo, I'm gonna holler at you later. Fuck is you doing, nigga? All right? Fuck is you doing? But at the end of the day, we ain't gonna be here all night. At the end of the day, what I aim to do is add a little nuance to the marriage discussion, especially in the area of child outcomes, because that's what everybody wants to talk about. What about the black boys and how do we save the children? And I see this echo not just with Dr. Thunder, but with a few guys in this space. They like to my sons and my daughters and this, and I want to create, the community for the sons and the daughters and things of that nature. Let me tell you again, I tell you that community is a male aspiration. Society is a male aspiration. It is a male constructed thing. Men create a society. Women opted into society for the benefits. Now they get the benefits for free. The provider male is dead. They receive provision from the state. Your provision is not necessarily required for their survival. So now your provision is not the basics. Your provision is luxury. I keep telling motherfuckers this. The provider, male, is dead. He died a long time ago. You're trying to bring him back with Gucci bags and Birkin bags and shit like that. That is not provision. I don't see anything wrong with getting production from your wife. That's what the business of marriage is allegedly supposed to do. Look, hey, Leon is a pimp in his marriage. Me and Leon talk. All right. Civilization is a masculine aspiration. Right. The state is the men. Jesse Lee. Okay. CS Base, brothers still doing community talk. You can't build a community with modern women. It's never gonna happen. I agree with you. But hey, this is what the space is. These clickbait titles? What do black men got to do for the women to come back and blah, blah, blah. I love listening to these blue pill delusional ideology, and I enjoy watching them lose the most, especially the married ones, because I'm petty. Absolutely. I'm with you, Mr. O. Leon understands the assignment. Yeah, Leon is some other shit right there. Yeah, J. Jermaine. Hey, look, check this out, man. I'm going to put this link up, right? For anybody that wants to check this out on their own. Okay? Let me get this, right? So, I am not a stranger to studies and shit like this. We talk a lot of shit here, but a lot of the conversations that I started this channel on were based around facts and studies, and motherfuckers like studies. They like studies, right? So here's your study. Feel free to read it, check it out, find some conflicting information if because this idea that dudes are getting married for the children is a lie. You're using the children it's like the women who say, well, my man left his children. No, he left your ass. He left your ass. The guys who want to be with these women want to be with these women. It's not about the children. The children is the excuse. Well, I want to be with these women for this reason, is the kids and for the black and for the pro-black. And no, you're married to this idea of, you want this woman. It's cool, but just say that. And I'd rather call it what the fuck it is than what the fuck it isn't. You're using the kids as a scapegoat. It's like the woman who don't want the dude to leave, using the kids, leaving the kids. It's the same shit. Okay? Again, you don't want to be a dater. So you offer the provisions and the protections and all of these things of the 1950s in 2025. But when that don't work, you gotta gloss that shit up. You gotta get that Gucci. Okay. Jesse Lee says, Latin culture is clearly a more together culture, regardless of marriage. They rocking out together. Let me tell you something. The other day, I'm driving and I'm on the West Coast. I seen a Mexican woman pushing a cart. And if you're on the West Coast, you see the Mexican women that they had their cars and they selling they shit on the corners and the streets and everything like that. She had the big sun hat on. It's blazing outside. It's hot out here. And she's going outside to sell whatever fruit or whatever she's selling, or icy or whatever she's selling. And I'm sure this woman is married. She's not living a soft life. Okay? She's not living a soft life, right? I'm sure she goes out and works. Now, dude probably goes out and works maybe on the construction site or some shit like that. And then they come home. She give this money to this man so he can pay for this mortgage. You are the only men in Western society that have to pay a premium for the women who look like you. Stripes. For the women who look like you. And even after you do it, you get no respect. No respect. You get no respect. Hey, oh, no respect. You gotta be old to know that. Anyway, that's it. Shank, nigga. Get married if you want to. I'm gonna sit by with the popcorn and just wait for it to happen. We waiting for that Travis Hunter head to get bit off by that lion because he's about to get bit off, nigga. That head about to be rolling in that motherfucker. That nigga head about to be MGM bit off. Anyway, we out here. Want it. Peace. See y'all next time. Out of here.